Today I'd like to focus on the thought of great gladness. When we realize the greatness of God and the great things that God has done for us, we too should experience great gladness. I want to give you two examples of this in the Old Testament. First, at the beginning of Israel's history, when David was the king. And it wasn't at the very beginning. Actually, Saul preceded him, and this is at the end of David's life, but it's still early compared to the many hundreds of years that they existed as a nation. But it says this in 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 22. And they ate and drank before the Lord on that day with great gladness. Now, what were they so happy about? Why were they experiencing this gladness? I believe that above all, the thing that they were glad about, or the reason that they were glad, was they had just finished, and if you read the story, you'll see, hearing that David had in his heart a desire to build a temple for the Lord. Up to this time, they had worshiped God in the tabernacle, a tent structure. Solomon built the great temple, but that was the vision of his father, David. And so David had given very generously to the building of this temple, and he asked the people of Israel to do that, and they did. I want you to know, when we are generous with God, with our resources, with our time, with our talents, with our tithes, when we are generous with God, I believe the result will be great gladness. Isn't it interesting? You would think that after giving a lot, they might have thought, wow, we've got to start worrying now. We just sacrificed a lot. We may need what we gave away back again. But they weren't worried about it because they had the joy of giving generously to the Lord. Fast forward now many years and decades, and we come to the time of King Hezekiah. And Hezekiah had just led the people of Israel through a great time of revival. And it says this in 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 21. And the people of Israel who were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness. And the Levites and the priests praised the Lord day by day, singing with all their might to the Lord. You see, the Feast of Unleavened Bread was a time for them to remember what God had done for them. It had taken place many years before when they were still in the land of Egypt as slaves. And you and I today need to be reminded of the great things that God has done for us. And if we'll focus on those great things and surrender our hearts to God and worship Him, we will experience great gladness.